We apologize for the technical difficulties and appreciate your patience.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Everyone presenting has to talk faster.
Jennifer Bobo is going to teach us all a line dance while we're waiting.
Yes, it's gonna tell some more dad jokes. People cheering. He's on the phone, but that's what she's, okay. Yeah, that's who's talking to. Okay. Yeah. Smear a little Vaseline on her glasses. Oh, good. It's like, you know what, we all want one.
From the instructions, but I guess if I just start back there.
We have citywide internet going in and out, so we're trying to get this to connect and let Rachel access things from up here. This is connected to the internet, so we can still do this. We're just trying to get access to her files.
You don't want to lose. Okay.
Oh, wow. The federal land?
The screen says we're recording, so I think you may proceed, Mr. Chair.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again so much for your time and patience on this, and welcome to the October regular meeting of the Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission. We will begin with the call of the roll. Rachel?
Yes, thank you. Dom Gelsomino, Jennifer Bobo,
Present.
Mandy Roberts, Joe Greer is absent, Bree Sandow is absent, Terry Dennington.
Here.
John Nesmith,
Here.
Alan Helms.
Thank you, Rachel. A quorum being present, I would like to ask for a motion for the adoption of tonight's agenda.
Chair Gelsomino.
Commissioner
Roberts.
Roberts, thank you. Today.
I would like to offer a motion to adopt today's agenda.
Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Helms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Next is the approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion for the approval of the minutes from the August 13th regular meeting and the September 10th special meeting?
So moved.
Commissioner Nesmith has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Helms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. All right, announcements. We have upcoming event announcements by our very own Shelley Houston.
Hello, commissioners. I do not mean to imply that time is flying by, but can you believe it? Amazing. As I was updating this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, the year's almost over. But some of our most significant events are in this part of the year. So I thought I'd kind of freshen up our event sheet. Let's start about the fall. The leaves are about to fall appropriately. So it's the time that we have the Recycle the Fall kind of initiatives. And part of that is Rake Up Meridian, which, as you'll recall, we get volunteer groups who are willing to rake the yards of people that are either elderly or somehow infirm or physically unable to do their own raking. And so the sign up or registration period is currently open, and it'll stay open until October 24th. And that's when the volunteer groups get matched with the homes they'll be raking, and they work it out together when the raking will happen, generally in early to mid-November once the leaves are down. So Rake Up Meridian is part of that. Another part that's important is the Recycle the Fall leaf bins. So what's happening is, and some are already in place, don't tell the residents, but from October 21st to December 11th, we've got large leaf bins for leaf collection in several of our parks. This year, again, it's Fuller, Gordon Harris, Heroes, Kleiner, Renaissance, Settlers, Story, and Tully. Now, these receptacles are for leaves only. No pumpkins, no branches and limbs and plants and all that, or household refuse. We want people to put leaves either loose or in paper leaf bags, no plastic or cardboard boxes. So we'll see how long it takes for them to break all these rules. Not too long, I'm guessing. But anyway, the leaves will be there, and sometimes they fill up pretty fast, especially on the weekend. So Republic Services is working as fast as they can to keep those emptied out and with capacity. So anyway, so lots of leafy activities. Trunk or Treat, one of our biggest events of the year, will be Thursday, October 23rd, here in the area around Meridian City Hall. And then when families tire of the actual trunk or treating, there'll be music and entertainment here in the plaza. So that's a fun, free event. We're asking people to bring either a cash or food donation for the Meridian Food Bank. A new exhibit will open up in the gallery on November 5th with a reception. Again, it's 5 local artists with a variety of artwork. Right now, you should see, if you haven't, the large men with small brushes. They are some local watercolor artists. They all happen to be male. I think 4 watercolor artists, and then I can't remember what the other thing is. Wooden sculpture? I can't remember. One other ceramic. Is it ceramic? Okay, ceramics. So if you haven't taken a look, that's really beautiful. Lots of beautiful Idaho scenes. Then we're going to move on to the Rock of Honor for our Veterans Day ceremony, like we always do. We team up with the American Legion, the VFW, and other, the Daughters of American Revolution, some other groups to put on a nice tribute. November 11th at 11 a.m. Everyone's welcome. And then it's time for Christmas in Meridian. Santa's mailbox will go up November 21st. The parade and tree lighting will be the evening of December 5th. And then the following weekend is the Children's Winterland Festival on the 13th. Now you'll see, as always, I've invited you to ride the float. That could be you and your significant other or a few kids or grandkids. I don't know. It has a way of working itself out. So you and your, whoever you consider your family or who would get a kick out of that, you might as well just maybe let me know if you'll be riding or not, just so I can kind of mentally keep our capacity at top of mind. And so again, you'd meet that evening over in Story Park, and I would tell you, you know, which the parade entry is, and you'd hop on and be ready. And it literally starts moving at about 10 minutes of 7, but you want to give yourself plenty of time for parking and to find the gang. And we might be able to open the pool again, as we always do, if you want to stay warm. Who knows what the weather will be. So anyway, and we welcome your participation in any of these events. If you ever want to be a volunteer or just a fly on the wall, you can do as much or as little as you'd like. So that's kind of how the wrap up of the year is looking like. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Yeah, I wanted to know how does the trunk or treat, like if somebody wanted to open their trunk and
Yes.
do it?
It's businesses and clubs and organizations and teams. And you would talk to us here at Meridian Parks and Recreation, and you'd have to commit to decorating a trunk and probably wearing a costume, having a little theme, and then to handing out maybe as many as 4,000 pieces of candy. It's really not as expensive as it sounds. That sounds kind of scary, but we still have some space left. So you would talk to Renee White up in Parks, and she's the keeper of the list. And I think we usually have between 70 and 90 trunks. So we still have a little space left.
Perfect,
We
thank you.
have over 70 already.
Yeah, over 70. So we're getting there. If it had to happen tomorrow, it could, but we're hoping for a few more, just more fun and festivity.
Commissioner Helms.
Yes, thank you. Regarding the parade,
Yes.
do they have a recommended or suggested parking area? Because I know with the Dairy Days, we had a designated parking or they had.
No.
Okay.
I would just say, as long as you're there early, like between 6 and 6:30, I've never had a problem being able to park right in Story Park.
Either.
So you may not be able to park right in front of the pool. It may be around, you know, closer to the dog park, but that's where I would recommend. But I would recommend the getting there early because the traffic gets ugly.
Or having someone drop you off. There's Alan, I wish there was some good solution. If I knew a good spot, I'd probably take it myself, but
The traffic to get there has been worse than finding a parking spot once I get there in the past. So I have not had a problem getting a parking spot once I get to the park. It's just a matter of getting to the park.
so start early, pack your patience. Yeah, that's the key to success.
Question
Yes.
regarding, Veterans Day, Rock Upon.
Yes.
I have not been to that and I apologize. I tend.
Oh,
Veteran.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful event.
But what are the other activities? Do they have an agenda for that? I mean, is it?
It's the public gathers around, either sitting in a folding chair, or we have some folding chairs where they bring their lawn chairs or lawn blankets, or some choose to stand. And there's an agenda. There's a welcome address, and a pastor says a little invocation, and then there's like maybe a keynote speaker, and then there's the laying of a beautiful wreath, and there's a gun volley, a rifle salute that some of our military veterans do. I think a bagpiper is going to play Amazing Grace or Taps or something like that. So it's patriotic, but it's also uplifting and a little bit educational as well. Depending on, interesting guest speakers who are mostly former military people. And it lasts about, I would say 40 to 45 minutes. And you just kind of dress for the weather, and it's kind of friendly and social, and it's very nice, but it's kind of just an agenda they go through. So, Are we good? Oh, yes, ma'am.
I go almost every year. It's a sight to see. It's really good.
It's nice. It's very nice. So, okay, hope to see you out and about this fall. Let me know if you have any questions or want to get involved.
Thank you, Shelley.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
before we move on, I just want to underscore the parade. I'm going to request an RSVP from each of you, hoping everyone will come. But I would say we've never had too many, right? So if you have a spouse, a loved one, a friend that you'd like to have come with you, I'd say that would be welcome. And maybe I'll work with Rachel to get out an email just to ask you to check your calendars and RSVP if you can come, and maybe account so that we can know who's coming. But we'd love to encourage as much participation as possible. So. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
May I ask a
Yes.
question? So are you going to have the gentleman back that played on the float last year?
I haven't heard, but they were great.
They were great. Yes.
So
Anyway.
I know I'd welcome them back. They were a lot of fun to have on the float with us, and so I have not heard for sure if they are coming back or not. But I know I'd love to have them.
Thanks.
But I will be there early with the pool area open and some snacks, hot chocolate, something. So come early and there will be a place to stay warm.
No old business on our agenda. For our new business, we have the Park at Expo Idaho update by Joshua Brown, Ada County Operations Senior Project Manager.
Well, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for inviting us. We appreciate the opportunity to update you on the Park at Expo Idaho. Mike and Steve, I know Mike pretty good. Steve, I'm getting to know a little better. We've been talking about the headaches of building things. And with that, I kind of like to know the audience before I jump into this presentation. I understand you're all volunteers for this board. Any attorneys? I see one attorney in the room. Any project managers other than Mike? Okay, project managers, and here's the other one, elected officials. Anybody elected? Okay, good. Then my elected official jokes will be okay. So first and foremost, I ask that because you all know, working in the public sector, that there's not one person that can take credit for any of this stuff. There's not a hero. There's a lot of small little moments that happen. Sometimes it feels like accidentally, sometimes magically, but there's a lot of tiny little moments that have to happen for things to come together. So this presentation has a little bit of a backstory to it to help you understand some of our magic moments. So the Park at Expo Idaho, as you can see on the screen, once used to be LaBois Park. In 2016, the local government decided that we no longer want gambling in Idaho. So the property was vacated, the horse races went away, and a lot of people were very upset. There were a lot of public hearing meetings about it, and to kind of quell that a little bit, the commissioners at Ada County decided to put together what's called a Citizens Advisory Committee. We invited them in to help us decide how we're going to move forward with the property. You may remember that there was some talks about possibly moving the fair out to the middle of the desert south of the airport. There was talks and screenshots of possibly turning that area into what you guys have, the village of Garden City. All of that went to the wayside once the Citizens Advisory Committee came in, and their recommendations were pretty square. We want to keep this a public space. We want to see what we can do to return this to the community and give people the opportunity to enjoy it for generations to come. In other words, no mixed use, no apartments, no more still ice cream shops, as much as I love still ice cream. So timing. During the Citizens Advisory Committee, something else happened, coronavirus. That pandemic was it shaped the rest of what we are today. We all, as local communities, received that ARPA funds. They call it the state and local fiscal recovery funds, the SLURA for however you want to pronounce it. And our community, our elected officials and local stakeholders came together and asked a very simple question. What can we do with this money that will have a lasting effect on the community? As you all know, you could do deferred maintenance. You could help bolster those essential employees' pay. You could buy a lot of hand soap. You could buy a lot of face masks. There's a lot of things you can do with it, but it meant either we were taking on $96 million projects, or we found something big that would work for the community. So we started going through all of the guidelines, and we decided that we were going to build a park. However, the park at Expo Idaho, the whole Ada County team, were not like Mike and his guys where y'all build parks every Tuesday, it seems like. You have a great parks and recreation department. We have Barber Park and a couple of pathways and some parts of the green belt. So we asked ourselves, what does this park look like? What do we want it to be? And the conclusion was, we don't know. So we decided to hold a design competition. The first time in the history of Ada County, we put out an RFQ inviting design professionals to come help us come up with ideas. So during that process, we gave them a map, and we said, here's 80 acres. And they came and asked questions. We all met out at Expo. We gave them the opportunity to walk the property. And some of the questions were, how much money do you have? And we said, that's public information. Go look it up. How much money do you want to spend on the project? I don't know. I mean, as much as we have, maybe less. I don't know. Give us your ideas. How much of the property do you want developed? What kind of programming do you want? We kept saying, I don't know. Surprise us. We didn't know what we didn't know. So we left it in the hands of these design teams to essentially wow us. And we had a public presentation. It was televised. We had the media there, and they stood up just as I am today, and they gave presentations as to what they thought would be a good design for Expo Idaho. So Port, we got a lot of flack for this. Port is a company out of Philadelphia. They have Northeast offices, and man, they're slick. When they came into the room, anybody that was sitting on that stage, which I was sitting in a seat and watching these guys present, you knew about 10 minutes into it that these guys were rock stars. So we got asked the question, why are you going with these guys out of town? Well, building something in the amount of time that we had, we needed rock stars. And Port, definitely Yale graduates, been doing stuff in Singapore, Korea, New York, all over the world. We knew we had the right team that came to present. The presentation was awesome. They listened, they did a lot of research, and more importantly, they looked at the time. They said, we don't have the amount of time we typically need to develop this park. As you know, these ARPA funds had very strict time frame. We had to have a contract in place by the end of 2024, and all of the construction had to be done by the end of 2026, which meant the time we sent out that RFQ to the time we had construction documents, we had 2 years. Now, I'm going to keep referring back to Mike because he was talking about some headaches that he's had with a half a mile of trails systems. That's now 8 years in the process. We couldn't afford to have an 8-year holdup, and we needed rock stars on our team. So day one, looking at the timeline, we said, we need to know what we're going to be building within 5 months. Can you do that? And they said, absolutely. Let's get on it. So we locked ourselves in a room, and they would bring us food every couple of hours, and we'd take some bathroom breaks, and we just started thinking. So for the next 5 months, we looked at every park in town. We even came to Discovery Park, Settlers Park, and we walked around and we just tried to come up with ideas. Luckily, we're in a beautiful place that has a lot of parks, right? I mean, some of these communities, until you go away from the valley, you don't realize how lucky we are. We have a lot of public spaces to study and look at. One of the unique things about Expo Idaho is it is flat. I mean, it was designed for horses to run in circles. A lot of dirt was brought in, and from the one side of the property to the other, it was 26, 26. That was the elevation across the entire thing, which I said 26, 26, 26, 27, and 26, 26. So it was a 1 foot of elevation drop across the entire property. But we had some pretty unique features. Number one, we're along the Boise River, which is fantastic. Things that didn't work in our favor were 1/3 of our property is in the floodplain. 2/3 of our property is in the, 2/3 in the floodplain, 1/3 of it's in the floodway, which triggers, of course, working with the Corps of Engineers, working with FEMA, helping understand if we're going to get any flood storage, I could go on and on. We could have a whole nother presentation about that. So what we did is we knocked on the doors of every jurisdiction having authority, personal visits, personal phone calls, and we invited them all to the park. We had the Corps of Engineers there, FEMA, drainage districts, anybody and everybody that would have to give us some approval. We brought them out to the park, we walked around, and we told them our crazy idea. And we asked them to help identify what's going to hold us up. It was amazing to watch what happened. They all took ownership, and they all didn't want to be the problem. They all started offering solutions and trying to help us navigate what we knew going to be a milestone project. So we had some pretty cool things in our favor. This is an image from 1952. The park, the Expo Raceway, used to be floodplain. It used to be a river that ran through it. So the Corps of Engineers very wisely told us, how about a wetland restoration project? It changed the application. We got to do that nationwide 27, took that 404 off the books, which could take 2-4 years at times, depending on how the approval works. And we decided to restore Expo Idaho to what it was in 1952, sort of. We got to work thinking about what flood storage looked like. We, of course, want it to look like a park. We need a place for kids to go to the playground. We wanted an all-wheel sports garden. We even had a wild idea to tear down the grandstands and turn it towards the mountains more. I'll talk more about that in a minute. We looked at flood storage, and we looked at the different water that's already flowing through the property. We have the Thurman Mill Canal that we happen to have 127 shares that are devoted to Expo Idaho that we weren't totally using. So we decided to pump Expo Idaho full of Thurman Mill water, irrigation water, through the park. And what we came up with was this. The picture that you see in front of you was a preliminary design proposal for the commissioners of Ada County. We gave them 2 options. What you see in front of you is what we call the Chevy Cavalier option. No frills, manual roll-up windows, didn't even have air conditioning. And we also presented them with the Cadillac Escalade option. They took the Escalade option. Then we told the team how much money we had. So it seems out of whack, right? We wanted to see what we can squeeze out of this. We had $90 million, but we knew that we had a lot of encumbrances on that money, and we were going to spend a lot of it. And we landed on a number of about $42 million. Attorneys in the room, pay attention. Here's where it gets fun, okay? A week after we landed on a preliminary design, the attorneys and the commissioners got together and said, hey, we've got this other piece of property on the corner of Glenwood and Chinden. Can we do a land swap this is an encumbered piece of property. It's called Lady Bird Park because the national parks, I don't know what the entitlement number is. You probably know better than I do. We couldn't just sell it. We couldn't convert it to something else. It had to be a park. So we were going to approach national parks and see if we could trade them a piece of land for that piece of property. Well, that back of the napkin drawing you see right there turned into a little blue beam drawing that I gave to the parks team, and they lost it. They were like, are you kidding me? That's going to change a lot of stuff. So now we have a new map, new boundaries that we have to start reprogramming and retalking. We had good ideas, so we didn't start from scratch. We went right back to the drawing board and we're like, okay, let's change the size of the flood storage. It went down from 20 acres to 19.45. It still met all of the requirements for Corps of Engineers and the FEMA guys. We actually found that this shrinking of land helped us a little bit. We could spend more money in these programmed areas and really scale it up. We started looking at finishes that were real Cadillac. I mean, we started going to the Mercedes line stuff. It got silly, actually. California Skate Park, Google those guys when you get a chance. They designed for the Olympics. We dedicated 5 acres to come up with an Olympic-style skate park, which I'll show you some image of that in a few minutes here. We started reaching out to companies like Berliner, who I don't know if you use any of the Berliner products. They are awesome. We decided to use specifically their stuff throughout our playground. Bottom line, within a few months, we redesigned things, fit it within that new boundary, and we came up with what we're building today, which is 20, it wound up being 20 acres exactly of wetlands. We have 6.95 acres of a playground, and we have 5.45 acres of a skate park, which is, when you see it, excuse my French, it's pretty damn cool. It is real awesome looking. We also took all the dirt that we dug out of the middle and we made a ridge line, which creates a cool interaction with the expo. We're gonna be working with that for years. We don't know exactly what that's gonna look like, but we imagine people riding their bikes to the fair instead of driving and parking out. We'll have a parking spot for 1,000+ bikes to come in and set up. So to recap, day one on the left-hand side is what the design presentation was. And about a year into it, and then getting to construction documents, that's what we had on the right. Once again, cool stuff. Marlon Blackwell, which is an award-winning architecture team, is designing our pavilion. They design stuff in Venice, Australia, all over the world. Private companies like Walmart, who want the best and can afford anybody, they bring in guys like Marlon Blackwell to design for them. They decide, the Berliner guy said, you have that much money, let's see what we can do. So we designed, if you see to the right of that, the largest swing set west of the Mississippi River. It's insane. Our play tower, we have 2 of them. They went back to the drawing board and said, let's see if we can get this thing to 40 feet. We got it to 37, so not quite to 40. We got a 37-foot tall play tower, which is kind of ridiculous. We have climbing walls. But more importantly, we have a place for people to gather when they're coming on their bikes. Just to the left of that, you'll see a food truck plaza there. So we invite people to show up. You know, we'll play the music every day, just like you see at Green Acres in Boise, and there'll be food trucks there. That skate park, whoops, sorry, went the wrong way there. That skate park, yeah, I gotta pause for this one for a minute. So you guys have had public hearing meetings and invited the public to come comment on designs before. Sometimes, you know, it's the basic run-of-the-mill neighbors, and you have good conversations and you have good ideas. We did that for the skate park, and we had 90 roller derby girls show up in their skates to our public hearing in full outfit, doing dances and doing skating for us. They were very convincing. So we are building the first outdoor roller derby park in the Valley. I get a little choked up about this one because they're coming next Friday to have a picture in front of it. And they had like this huge Facebook presence, and boy, they turned these old grizzled commissioners into mush. You know what I mean? So it was just such a cool moment to see them show up and represent. We have a local guy here in the Valley. I can't remember his name, but he's qualified for the Olympics a couple times as a skateboarder. Our design team invited him out to California, and they went over a bunch of features. I'm like, hey man, what would you like to see? What would make this thing totally cool? So California Skate Park, another cool thing about them is they help host these big nationwide events, you know, the Mountain Dew Tour, the X Games, and Olympic qualifier events. They see this, they built this as a place to host those national events. So that roller derby track will double when the big events will happen. They'll come put up their big, massive half pipe. Is that what they call it? Is that what the cool kids call it? Yeah, the half pipe, and we'll put bleachers around it and host those big events. So let's, pictures. Everybody loves pictures. Before I go through all these pictures, I want to qualify. We had them time lapse it about 15 years in the future. So building parks that the day the park opens is the best day, and honestly, the worst day. It's the best because you got an open park, and it's the worst because it's the worst it's ever going to look. Parks get better looking with time. Buildings, of course, it takes a big maintenance team to keep them looking nice, and they start degrading. Parks just get better and better if you do the right maintenance. So this is the playground pavilion area. You'll see in that back right of that picture, that's our Tower 1, which is, like I said, 38 feet tall, 37 foot 6 inches. Skate park area, we're bringing the skate park through the environment. I was talking, anybody that will listen to me talk about this, I try to remind them that we're not putting a lot of grass out here, very little. So any place where you see grass, we actually took it away. This is a full native species park. Not to say we're not going to be doing a lot of watering. We have 320 something zones. The whole place has got an irrigation system, but our goal is to, the irrigation, am I running out of time? Is that me? Sorry. The irrigation will eventually go away and the park will be completely sustainable, just like the Boise River, all the water that's flowing in and out of the park. And we're going to talk a little bit about that water here in a moment. Food truck plaza next to the pavilion. And guys, if I'm moving fast, stop me. If you want questions, I'll slow down. We have cool features. I love this. We're putting ridge line swings in so people can climb up to the top of the ridge and sit on a big porch swing and overlook the wetlands. We're putting a new bridge on the Greenbelt that's going to cross the wetlands that we're installing. There's a nice image of that swing set, and we've got 4 of those along the ridge line. So we had a great design. It's time for construction. We have our shovel-ready project. It's time to start digging. On December 23rd, we had our groundbreaking ceremony. January 1st, they started moving dirt. 3 months later, this is what we had. We had the ridge line shaped. They started all the drainage for the park area, which is what you see at the bottom. That's the playground area. After 3 months, we had our pavilion framed up, looking pretty good. And on the far end of that park is where the skate park is, which we're just getting started on. They mobilized in Monday this week, so they just showed up. Here we are about 5 months into it. We started digging the wetlands. And I want to talk about this for a second. Anybody and everybody knows that water is great for parks. It just adds a wonderful element. It invites all the wildlife. But I want to qualify it by saying this: water is not great for building parks. It sucks. It's been a wonderful testing experience. Right next to the Boise River, as you know, the moment you put a shovel in the ground, the water comes up. As you know, you can't just pump that water back into the Boise River. You have to have some very detailed stormwater treatment plans in place. We have been loving building a park along the Boise River. It's been awesome. Then Boise Soccer shows up. We put out an RFP to the public. Let's see what any ideas they have for this phase 2 of our park. And Dave Wally and his management group showed up with Boise Pro Soccer, and they blew our socks off. A couple other people presented as well, but Athletic Club Boise had a great idea. We want to build a pro soccer facility. We want to utilize the existing bleachers that you have, and we want it to be up and running by March of 2026. We're like, really? Okay, you can make that happen. Not to mention profit sharing. The lease agreement that's in place, and the profit sharing will pay for all of the maintenance of the park. In other words, no net taxes for the community members in Ada County. This will all be paid for with the money that comes in from the soccer facility. So here they are at work. This picture was taken yesterday. As you can see to the left of the picture in front of the grandstands, they already have all of the stuff down for the soccer field. This is a full professional pitch. Any soccer fans in here okay, forgive me if I say some stupid stuff, okay, because I don't know it very well. But I watched Ted Lasso, so, and it's, the relegation and promotion, the baseball, you got a guy in the minor leagues. If he's doing real good, they bring him up to the majors, right? With soccer, this professional soccer, if you're doing good, the entire team can get promoted to the next level. So we're starting with a Division II pro men's soccer, which starts in March of 2023. The next year, we'll have a Division I women's team. So opportunity for promotion and opportunity for relegation right out the box, which we're pretty excited to watch. They're on schedule. They're rocking and rolling. So notice to the right, and you see the orange fencing that's kind of protecting, the silt fencing that's protecting our little waterway there. All of that's starting to be underwater. Remind you, we took this picture yesterday. The river is at its lowest stage that it's been all spring, all summer, and into the fall. But a weird hydrology thing happened. When the river went down, the pressures all changed and the water came up on our park. We were worried that we weren't going to have much water in the winter months. Now we're worried we've got too much water during the winter months. We've run into some tough situations. As you can see from this aerial image, we can't drive across the park anymore. So all of our guys that are moving dirt and fine tuning things were like, oh man, what are we about to do? Second thing is we're running into a major window that we have to keep perfect timing on. And that is in February, flood release starts again. They start letting the water back out. We're cutting into a side channel of the Boise River where all of this water will go in and out of the river. Come second week of February, we may be inundated with 4,000 flows. Let me show you what that looks like. This is a hydrology study, which kind of gives you an overview of what the park and wetland area looks like. To the top of the screen there is our cut into the side channel of the Boise River. Come first and second week of March, for sure we know we're going to be inundated with water again. So all of our RivHab guys, all of the wetland restoration team are going to be working around the clock in already wet conditions to prep that area and get it ready to accept all of that water. With that, let me let you watch a little video. This was taken, how do I press play here? Is there a way to do that? Yep. Hopefully the music is off because it's kind of cheesy. Yep, no music. So what you're seeing now is a flyover from the expo side. This is our area that will interact with Expo Idaho, kind of the gateway to the park. That ridge line that we talked about, that bridge goes over that. This is our skate park pavilion. We tried to make it look real industrial. We got a feeling it's going to get graffitied pretty quick. We're worried about that. So any local artists you can recommend, let us know. The pathway, the Greenbelt pathway, we moved it. It was a straight shot that ran along the river. Most people just closed their eyes and pedaled as they went through. Now it'll be a nice place to ride. We have workout areas that you see there. Of course, you can see our wetlands are they're in effect already. You can see where people used to drive, they can no longer drive anymore. Boy, this is a little choppier. Is it as choppy on yours as it is on mine? I apologize for that. Plantation Island, which Garden City very nicely just de-annexed, and now we have to maintain that too. Yay. We're already receiving all of our trees. We have a little makeshift nursery. We have about 1,000 trees that we're putting in. We have 1.97 million plugs and 2,800 and something shrubs that we're putting in. Once again, all native species. And there you go. I mean, that's the aerial view. And CM Company, by the way, fantastic group. If you get the opportunity to work with them, absolutely love them. Let's see, do I have any more there? I think that's it. With that, I'll stand for question.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Yeah.
You don't call the electrician to do a plumbing job. So the fact that you guys thought out of the box and looked at, because look, there is a sentiment, and I speak as a former Californian who's been here 15 years, there is a sentiment that if you look outside the borders of our state, suddenly it's, the boogeyman's going to come and get you. But when you see successes in other states, in other cities, in other locations, why not?
Yeah.
Why not bring that success here? So I applaud you and the team for all that has been done so far and the progress that's been done and the selection choice, notwithstanding the grisliness of some of those commissioners who I do know personally. So I could imagine some of the discussions were very heated, but the fact that you guys got it through the finish line and are getting it executed is incredibly impressive. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions from the commission?
I have a few
Yes.
questions. Thank you. Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I was just curious, so did Port take the design through like design development and then these other collaborators that you've listed here kind of take it forward into construction documents and?
That's a fantastic question. So
Okay.
the team is big. I have them up there on the screen right now.
Yep.
One of our big milestones, as you know, is dealing with the Corps of Engineers. So we had to really lock down the middle, right? What does a wetland restoration project look like? So Rio, who is a local company, Rio ASE and Ecology, Great Ecology, those guys, they know the Boise River. They know how to deal with Walla Walla and the Corps of Engineers. They know how to deal with FEMA. So we essentially took that part out and I don't want to say gave it to them. It became part of the construction documents, of course. But they had to do the entire permitting process. And if you know, dealing with the Corps of Engineers, a lot of times it's permitting by, it's designed by permit. Am I saying that right? You have to look at their regulations and design backwards into what they want. And these guys did it. So that 20 acres that's in the middle, that kind of got froze, right? Because we started that process very early. We weren't going to change it. Now, I can't say that there weren't things that came up, right? Dealing with floodways, you're also dealing with the drainage district. You're dealing with the Thurman Mill guys. You're dealing with the fish and game guys. So there was a lot of things to navigate in that. But to your point, Port is the principal design team.
Okay.
They had a lot of sub-consultants and Rio has been an incredibly
Okay,
valuable part
great.
of that team.
Okay, that helps. And then did you say that Lady Bird Park was actually a national park?
No, so it's under the National Parks and Recreation. It's encumbered.
Oh, okay.
Once again, this is the attorneys told me all about it, and sometimes I don't understand what they're saying.
Okay.
But you can appreciate that, I hope, Emily. But we can't just go and do what we want with it because of that encumbrance. They accepted $37,000 in 1967 to develop that park from the federal government. We actually sent a check to Washington for $37,000 under the current political environment, thinking that would work. It fell flat on its face. But, we weren't able to convince the federal government that we'd like that piece of property back.
So it seemed like you described it as a trade, but it seemed like you just encompassed that in the design.
It's no longer in the design. So
Okay. All right.
nothing
I
ever
missed that, I
happened.
guess.
They
Yeah.
never returned a phone call. They denied meetings with us.
Oh,
Our hopes of doing a land swap and encumbering this new piece of property, y'all know that that's a very valuable spot, right? I mean, if you've been down Chinden, the traffic count in there, it's like the second highest traffic.
I wouldn't want to
in the
have a
state.
picnic there.
Yeah, it's a horrible. So, but it would be perfect for some sort of commercial use or hotels or you name it, pick anything. And we were hoping that we would be able to take advantage of this opportunity.
I
And
see. Yeah.
yeah, good question.
Well, and then my last question is just the fairgrounds as a whole. And are there plans for changing that anytime soon?
We're going to make it better.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
I
it-
wondered if it was going to move and ultimately that it was all, you hear different things. So, yeah.
Commissioner Roberts, first of all, Bob Batista has been the director for 25 years and this is his last couple of months. So he's been kind of overseeing this whole transition. The public spoke. They don't want it to move, right? So commissioners listened and we're
Yep.
keeping it right where it is. We're influxing a little cash into it to revitalize it with this brand new park and the
That'll be
sport
great.
complex. We're going to go in and repaint a lot of things, repave a lot of things. The new director, whoever that winds up being coming in, will have a blank slate to kind of revitalize it. But the fair will keep happening in perpetuity for all I know, right there.
So that Ferris wheel that was in one of the renderings was for the fair.
We expect it to be.
It's not a new part of the park, but yeah.
And if I
That's
can
cool.
speak a little more to that, if
Yeah.
I'm taking a couple of minutes, what a unique spot, right?
Yeah.
And the California Skate Park guys pointed that out to us. They said, we do national events, but very rarely do we have an expo center right next door to us where we can move things inside and have outside. Very rarely do we have, I mean, goodness, I think we have 4,600 parking spots.
Yeah.
Right? Very rarely do you have it right along the river. I mean, so it's like all of these things that just don't exist in a lot of places. We didn't want that to go away. So it's there.
Great job. Thank you for answering my questions. Yeah.
Any additional questions from the commission? Commissioner Dennington?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. It was great. Great pictures and being able to kind of see what you were thinking. With the hydrologic reports and all that, I'm concerned about those things only because of, floods and, how what you're building there, if it was flooded how would that get taken care of? Or, your soccer field, how much higher is it than everything else? So that, would it be damaged in that?
Yeah, man, what a great question. You guys are awesome. So I wish I would have loaded all the images. I have flood studies for 1 year, 5-year, 10-year, 100-year flood. And all of those real heavy red areas to the left and the right of that image are the programmed areas that are built above the flood zone, right? So we looked at the 100-year flood numbers and we went a foot and a half above that. Soccer field is out of the floodway. And that area that you see in the middle there, that 20 acres, is now flood storage. So we went back to FEMA. We're changing the maps. We've gone through the, goodness, it's the flood map. What's it called, Mike? When you change the floodplains, CLOMAR. We're in the conditional letter of map revision, which, eventually becomes a letter of map revision. But we're changing the floodplain out there because we're creating all of this flood storage. Once again, timing and little moments that had to come together. That study started a year before we decided to build a park. So when they showed up, the FEMA guys are like, hey, by the way, we're already doing the study. Can we offer some advice? We're like, heck yeah, if it makes our approval go through faster. And we basically listened to them. What capacity do we need to create that flood storage? We have it. And everything that's programmed is up out of the park. So worst case scenario, we flood that thing out. The waters eventually go back down. Vegetation keeps growing. Like I mentioned before, it's all native species. So we're not, flooding Home Depot plants, for lack of better words. It's all stuff that's used to growing in the wetlands. But we've created flood storage instead of creating a flood liability. Does that make sense?
I have a couple other questions.
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Yes, how close are you to your budget? I think you said you had $96 million available, and are you staying pretty much in that budget?
So we designated $42 million. There were a lot of other encumbrances that came on the money. So we set aside 42 million. We thought all the bids would come in at 41,887,000. They came in at 31 and 32, 39. We have a lot of money left over. So we are, with consulting with the attorneys and making sure that we're constructing within the ARPA guidelines, some of the stuff that we had programmed out of the park, we now have the opportunity to program it back into the park within the boundaries that are already there. So we're
Josh, would you speak more directly into the microphone?
Oh, forgive
Sorry.
me. Yeah, sorry. So we're actually upgrading a lot of the features with some of the money that we have left over. We're below budget.
So are you keeping some of those, will those monies all be kept for this particular project, or can you move them to other things, or is it all specific to this?
Unfortunately, the ARPA guidelines have the time is far spent. If you didn't have it under contract or encumbered by the end of 2024, if I remember correctly, it's gone. So we encumbered all of these funds and create a resolution so that this remaining money is all there for the park, but what we don't spend goes back to the federal government.
See, okay. And then my final question is on the athletic club Boise or whatever that said that they would do, because of the equal partnership or whatever, they're going to take care of the maintenance of this?
No, so we have, and I don't know every detail of that partnership, but we have a lease agreement and we receive approximately $150,000 a year as a base ground lease agreement. But there's profit sharing. So we hold the liquor license for Expo Idaho. So all of the liquor sales will go through Expo with a profit sharing back to them. 5%, I can't remember the number, a portion of the ticket sales goes back to Expo Idaho. And then of course there's parking that they will be charging people for. So we're going to get a profit sharing. All of that money goes into an account. We're going to use that money to manage the park with government employees. So we'll have our own ground maintenance teams. We'll have everything we need to take care of the place, but not the Boise Pro Soccer guys. It'll be us taking care of it with the funds from the profit sharing.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, and that's how you're going to do the maintenance of the park, is mainly with all of those, that those sharing dollars.
Exactly right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Any additional questions? Oh, yes, Garrett.
Now it's working maybe. My question is with the soccer field and the turf, I mean, looks like it was being turf on their fake turf, natural grass. Is other people in the community able to use that field, or is it just specifically just for that soccer group, or?
Yeah, wow, that's a good question. So we've been asking those same questions. The first pitch that you see is a professional pitch, totally for professional teams. That is the first thing that they're building so they can start generating revenue. If you look at the rest of their plan, which they may or may not have it published now on their website, you can go to boiseprosoccer.com, I think is what it is. They have a total build out, which has a lot of other fields. I understand, not fully, that there's going to be a partnership with the Boise Recreation, what is that group called? The Boise Rec. And there will be opportunities for the local teams to come in, the high schools, any collegiate level events, they will be able to come in and use that facility as well. Yeah. But not totally public. There's going to be a fence around that whole thing. Yeah. Good question.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. With that, thank you so much, Josh.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right.
Our next presentation is the Department Forestry update by Meridian Parks and Recreation City Arborist Kyle Urita.
All right, well, good evening. Thanks for having me. Let's see how this works. All right. So a little bit about me. So my name is Kyle Urita. I'm the city arborist. I've been with the city for 10 years come this December. So I started up in the city of Moscow, working for their parks department, and then went to Napa for like 3 months, and then I came here. Started from ground maintenance, and then I took this position 3 years ago. So that's my family. I got a little 2-year-old and soon to be 3, and my 5-year-old boy there. And we reside here in Meridian, and it's nice that we get to see what I do for a living every day. So, right. So we've been a tree city for 24 years now. We just finished our 24 year. We qualify again. To qualify, you have to meet 4 standards. So you have to have a tree board or a department established, which that's me. We have to have an adopted tree ordinance, which we do. We have to spend $2 per capita. And then we have to do an Arbor Day observance and a proclamation. Last year we did it with Hillsdale Elementary School. The year before, we actually partnered with Rocky Mountain High School. And then the year before that, we actually did it with the local company, Ocean Network Express. So those are my 3 Arbor Days that I've been taking care of. This year, I'm working with possibly Rocky Mountain High School again, and then also possibly Peregrine Elementary School. That's where my kid goes. So, and then also possibly Hillsdale Elementary again. So we have Hillsdale Park right there. It makes it really easy. So, so yeah, we're a Tree City USA. With that, we qualified for our growth award again. So we're 12 years of growth award. We're going on our 7th year consecutive. And so with that, you have to meet 10 points. So there's a list of things that we have to qualify for and you get certain points for. So for this last year, our tree inventory, we just updated our entire inventory pretty much, which I'll get into later. Our planting to removals ratio, we planted like 161 trees and we only removed 20 this year. So our planting to ratio was off the chart this year. And then another new thing that we qualified with points is our systemic maintenance. And so in the last year and a half, I've started injecting trees with a systemic chemical. We do insecticide. So we're doing scale at Lakeview Golf Course. And then we're also injecting all our ash trees, getting ready for emerald ash borer, which is on its way here, devastating bug. So we qualified for that this year. Hopefully we're going to be getting another arborist. We have a couple guys that are interested in getting that certification. And so that actually counts for all 10 points the next year. So hopefully we'll have that in the next year or so. 2 years ago, I learned about this program. So with Arbor Day Foundation, where we are Tree City USA, they have Tree Cities of the World. So we have to set 5 standards on that. So establish responsibility. It's basically like Tree City USA. We have to have a board or somebody that does it. So that's me. Set your rules, your ordinances, tree laws, stuff like that. You have to, on this one, submit your entire tree inventory. So that's why we've been working on getting ours updated. Again, you have to allocate resources. They take your $2 per capita from your Tree City USA and then celebrate an Arbor Day. With this, we are only one of 44 US cities recognized in this program. There are actually only 242 cities worldwide that are qualifying for this right now. Cool thing about this is I get emails now, since we qualified for 2 years now, I get emails from arborists and foresters across the world. And it's really cool to learn what they do. So I actually learned that in South Africa, they have a 2-week-long festival for being like tree cities. And it's huge. I mean, it's like in the streets, it's a huge party. So it was really cool to like learn stuff like that. So that's one of the benefits of us being in this program. So our tree inventory, we've been working with a group called Idaho Conservation Corps. They're an organization that employs youth and young adults, gives them education and then also on-site or on-the-job training. So they go out and build trails for BLM and Forest Service. They have a couple different programs. And with one of the federal grants that came out, they were able to start coming to the urban forest side. So we got together with them, and at the time, they were only allowed to work in certain areas. And they wanted to do tree work. And I asked them, can you guys inventory trees? And they were like, definitely. So we use an online program through the state, the Idaho Department of Lands. They were able to we were able to give them access to it. They all had their own tablets. They all have their own DBH tapes, and they went and inventoried a ton of trees for us. So they did that for, they did it for Champion, Settlers, 8th Street, Tully, the downtown and the split corridor. in Gordon Harris Park the first time. And then they came back and said, hey, we can work outside these areas. I was like, the golf course, that definitely needs to be updated. So we sent them out to the golf course, Lakeview, they did the entire thing. And then I was like, can you guys do Kleiner? Because Kleiner at the time, the first time, had fallen outside their area. And they're like, we can. So they just finished up Kleiner Park last week. Total trees inventoried, they did 4,300 trees for us. Our entire tree catalog is 6,900 about. So they did almost all of them. What that does for me is, well, one, it frees up my time. It takes me a ton of time to go and inventory trees. And two, it helps us when we do our spring drench for all our bugs. It gives me an accurate measure of what we're doing. And it also cuts our time down. So before we would go out, we would measure a tree, we calculate it, do our chemical drench. Now I have it on maps. I just print it out for our applicators. It has the measurement on there. They can just roll up to a tree. They know it's 10 inches. The calculation's already there. Used to take us almost a month to do our entire tree drench throughout the city. We are now getting it done in about 2.5 weeks. So it sped it up. Just so you know, there are about 1,200 trees in Kleiner, and it took this group 5 days to go through the whole entire park. So I don't even want to know how long it would have taken me to do it. It probably would still be doing it. So projects that we have coming up, one that I'm really excited for. So later this month, Western State Cat Excavation over on Overland, them and I were partnering together. So they had a tree mitigation issue come up. They're expanding their parking lot. They couldn't fit all the trees needed on their property. So they're like, what can we do? Talking about planning and zoning, we're like, hey, can they buy trees for us to use offsite? They were like, yeah, definitely. So working with one of our nurseries that we've been working, Super Trees out of Utah, they bought 27 trees for us, and they're all about 2-inch caliper or above. On top of that order, we ordered about 50 trees. That truck comes in next Tuesday. Western State Cat is going to do a community service project with us the next Tuesday, and we're going to plant about 30 trees in Kleiner. So I'm really excited to partner with them. It's hard for us in-house to plant that many trees like in one day. So that, that's nice. They're going to help. With those other trees that we bought, we're planting across the city. We have multiple parks that we just want to fill in old tree wells, plant new trees, and just increase the inventory. Lakeview tree plantings, I'm actually doing a project over by Alan's house. Put in some trees there, replacing trees that we've lost to scale, bugs, just old trees that have died out, replacing trees at Lakeview. And then our Tree City signage updates. I don't know how many of you have seen our Tree City USA signs. Some of them haven't been updated in like 10 years, at least. So working on getting our new stickers, updating that. And then I am your Christmas tree guy. So every year, I think I'm going on my 7th year of doing the lights on the Christmas tree. This year, our tree is coming from Heroes Park neighborhood. And then we'll put on like about 6.5 miles of lights on it. So we measured it one year. We counted every strand that we did put on a reel. It's about 6 miles. And yeah, I'm your guy for that. It's fun. I love it. So looking ahead, just continuing building our inventory. So like I said, we have about 70 trees coming in on a truck, hoping to get that out. Focus on our emerald ash borer preparedness. So none of you have heard, emerald ash borer is a nasty bug that's coming across the nation. It's found in Portland now. It's found in Denver. We're right between the two, so we're pretty sure it's going to be here. Emerald ash borer attacks pretty much every ash that we have, and non-native ash here. It's about 100% mortality rate once the tree hits it. And so we're just preparing for that. Luckily, I'm feeling very confident we've been treating our ash trees for years now that I'm hoping that we're ahead, but we just got our injection system. That's why we're injecting. We're trying to stay ahead of it. So, continue increasing our tree canopy across the city. More trees is the best thing. More shade, it makes people happy. And they just, I mean, just look great, right? And then maintain and exceed our Tree City USA and our growth award standards. So that's a huge goal of mine every year. We want to qualify for it. And it just pushes me to keep us going. With the growth award, we have to meet so many points. And so it just keeps you motivated to keep going on trees. So any questions?
Thank you, Kyle. As always, especially with trees, important, it's not just aesthetically pleasing, not just, for shade, but clean air. I mean, they're the best filter system we can get. So thank you for your continued work on that. Of course, Christmas lights being 6 miles long, I can only imagine one goes out. Where do you even begin to?
Don't even get started. We had a squirrel or a bird or something take out our lights last year, so it's been an issue.
Well, thank you. Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Bobo.
Previously, we had talked about keeping a good percentage of different varieties of trees. Is that something that is still going on?
It is. So luckily with our tree inventory program, it'll tell us I can't remember. They kept changing it. I think it used to be I think it's like the 10, 20, 30 rule. You're supposed to have like 10% of a certain genus, less than 20% of a certain species, stuff like that. We've exceeded that like across the board. And one thing that I've really tried to do is I'm not against maples. We just have a lot of it. It is actually one of our top trees that we have in the city. I could actually count on my fingers on my hands how many maples I've planted in the 3 years in this position. So I've been going to like different species that we really don't have, like Zelkovas, tulip trees, catalpas, and ironwood, Persian ironwoods. So I've been picking trees that our inventory on those is almost nil. So.
It was fascinating when I heard about it the first time, and it actually was in coordination when I realized when they were talking about the bugs that were coming. We had a presentation where they had maps of, you could see the swarm. I have a very vivid memory of these swarms coming across the United States. So I'm glad that we are prepared, but I had no doubt that we would be. But also along the lines of the inventory, I recall that we had an inventory started a number of years ago. Were you able to build on that, or did you have to start all over?
No, we were able to build on it. So it was great. So Matt Perkins was the forester before, or the arborist before me here. He went to the state IDL, our Department of Lands, and he made the transition so seamless for us. It was just like, we did not, that was one of the things I was worried about, was having to start over. But because it's cloud-based, it's online, it was just literally a transfer of ownership. So,
Nice.
yep.
Thanks for the trees. I love them.
Yes, Commissioner Helms.
Yeah, I wanted to compliment you on starting your photo or your presentation off with that beautiful family you have. I met Kyle, a couple weeks ago or so, and had some great conversation, but anyway, I didn't recognize you when you first got here. Maybe it was the hat or something, but anyway, I just want to say thank you for your help and cooperation. So doing a great job.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dennington.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I think all the trees in the parks and around the city are beautiful. You do a fabulous job. I'm just very impressed with how healthy they look, and you keep them trimmed, and they're just lovely. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to know, is this the best time of the year to plant trees? Is it always in the fall?
It's one of
I
them.
don't know.
I mean, technically you could plant all year round if you wanted to. Just the summer, the heat, you have to be on it. You have to make sure your tree doesn't get stressed, but this is one of the best times. One of the things that we're running into with the delivery of our trees is that they're all containerized right now. That's our delivery. All the B&Bs to dig them out, they hadn't gone dormant yet. And so we were trying to push for this early because we didn't want to fight moisture, fight the cold. When it gets cold, volunteers start dropping off usually. So they were pushing for this earlier date. And so that's one of the issues right now is that we couldn't get B&Bs, but it is perfect time. It's cooler. And it's just, you can water it every other day. And springtime is great too. But we'll plant all year round. We will, because we can monitor them. I usually don't, I tell homeowners don't plant in the middle of the summer just because it's too hot. Most people just kind of like, it's too hot, I'm not going outside, and they forget to water their tree, so.
So, and I have one more question. You had used the Idaho Conservation Corps, which I think is fabulous and obviously helping you to inventory all of these trees. They got a grant to do some things, but do we give them a donation or do we do anything to try and support them at all? Or is it just?
So, we don't give them a donation or anything. What we've done is, every year we've brought them into our facility and we've held a training. So Matt actually comes in and we train them on measuring trees, why we do it. We train them up on the entire inventory program that they're going to be using. So we throw it up on the big screen and then they're able to take that, and they've actually, the same inventory system is used by every city in the state of Idaho. So every city in the state of Idaho has an opportunity to use it for free through some grant through IDL. And so they've been able to go over to Napa. They just finished up Caldwell's entire inventory for the first time. They hadn't had one ever. And they actually just finished that one up, I believe, this summer. And so, and then they come out, they do some pruning for us, and I'll go out and spend half a day and we'll just teach them pruning stuff. So education is how we kind of, I guess.
Pay them back?
Yep. Yeah.
So, and what are the ages of the kids or the people that are in this corps?
The ages? So it differs. So it's kind of cool. So right now, I believe it's their young adults crew. And I believe they go from, don't quote me on it. I believe they go from like 17 to like 20. And then they have a youth group, youth session, and they're like, in the summer. So they're like 15 to 17. So they're not old enough to use chainsaws. I know that. So they told me they cannot use any powered equipment. So, but there's like 3 sessions that they do in all different age groups. So
It's great. I love the education that you're doing for them. And it's great that there are still youth out there that are interested in doing these kinds of projects. So.
it's a great program. It's been a great partnership for us. I mean, they've done also a ton of work for us. And then 2 of them actually from last year, I believe they went on their seasonals for City of Napa's forestry team, I believe, this year. So it was kind of a cool little transition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Roberts.
I have one question for you, Kyle. Great presentation, by the way.
Thank-
What is your favorite tree and why is it your favorite?
I'm a catalpa, purple catalpa.
Okay.
Yeah, big leaves, big seeds. They grow kind of funky and weird.
You don't mind cleaning up the bean pods?
I do not. No, no. But catalpa is my
That's
favorite
great.
tree. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Local favorite. Yep.
Wonderful. Kyle, thank you so much for your presentation tonight and for all you and your team do.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will now move on to a recognition and farewell to Meridian Parks and Recreation Commissioner John Nesmith.
Commissioner Nesmith has an announcement, and he and I have been talking off and on through the summer, trying to figure out what the right timing was. But there's been a decision. I don't want to. Why don't you speak for yourself, and then I'll take over from there.
Sure. It just seemed like my commission was up and Steve made it, that it could potentially continue, but I've really enjoyed my service. I started, it was the old city hall and watched this thing being built, and I've been in this community for my whole life. I was born and raised here, and it's just amazing just watching what Steve and the crew and everybody here has done and growth of our town. And it just seemed like the right time to bow out and let somebody else enjoy doing this. And so I was, I mean, we had several conversations, and so, just focus more time on family and taking that stuff. And so it's just been, I don't know, really proud of this being here and just everything that gets done here. It's just amazing. You think of, it's funny when Colin left, and Garrett steps up, just the bar just keeps raising. It's just pretty amazing to watch, and just what a cool group of people. So it's been just a total honor to be a part of it.
Thank you. It's an amazing team, and you're all part of it. But John Nesmith has been with us the longest. He even predates me. He's been with us 19 years as a commissioner. Almost hit the round 2-decade mark, but 19 and a half years. It's over 19 at this point, but a full 19 plus, and you've seen a lot of change over those 19 years, and a lot of change of the park system and the recreation program offerings, and you have fingerprints all over the parks and programs in the city. And I'm very grateful for your service over the past 19 years. With that, could I get you to come down and join me down here? I did not expect to have a plaque ready because this decision was just made last week and usually takes a little longer to get one. It just came today. So,
Good time.
but we're going to take advantage of the fact that it came today, and I'd let him know last week. We probably won't have, so we'll have to find another time to do the plaque, but I get to do it tonight, which I'm very happy about. So this plaque is presented to John Nesmith in recognition of 19 years of service to the City of Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission from January of 2006 to October 2025, with gratitude for your loyalty, your dedication, and your many, many contributions. Thank you.
Very much.
Yeah, Shelley's gonna want a picture, so with that, I'll turn it back to the commissioners to say a few words to Commissioner Nesmith.
Thank you, Steve. And John, first of all, I will tell you, I was graduating middle school in 2006. But no, when I first started in 2018, you and Keith and Matt took me under your wing, and as well as Joe, and just has made it a really great process. I mean, supportive, collaborative. I mean, the list goes on and on. So you made it a really enjoyable experience.
I just want to say thank you for your service. It's been great to meet you and be on the board with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats, John. I'll still think of you when I see your cars around, your trucks. But yeah, no, it's been great. I can't remember. Is Joe longer than me? I think you were one of Joe. Okay, so just you left, and then Joe's the only one with more seniority besides Dom and I. So great job. You've been a steady force all along.
Yes, and John, I don't really know you very well. You've been on this a long time, and I've been on a relatively short time, but appreciate your service. Thank you so much. You probably have a lot of memories and input that you've done over the years to the commission and giving them lots of input on different things over. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll comment. Yeah, John, again, I don't know you that well, but it's like when I wear my veteran hat, I get people to say, thanks for your service. And the same thing goes here. To give that much time as a volunteer is a big deal. So, and we need to give plaques more often. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah. That's all I have, but thank you. Thank you once again, John. Really appreciate your service. I know you're on some other committees like our impact fee committee and things. Are you going to stay on that? Have you decided?
Yeah.
So, well, I may see you there. We continue to cross paths, but appreciate your service with the Parks and Rec Commission.
Thank you.
Next item is our commission bylaws with Deputy City Attorney Emily Kane. You're here.
I'm actually here. I do exist. I'll say, I came to the city about 3 months before John was appointed to the commission, so we kind of grew up together as public officials, so it's an honor to be here for your last meeting, and John's heard every boring presentation that I've ever given to the Parks Commission, so
So helpful.
how fitting. Well, thank you. I dedicate this one to you. So this is a presentation about your bylaws, which I think you have a copy of that in your packet. These are, this is a follow-up to the Title II updates that I provided about 18 months ago, maybe almost 2 years ago, but Title II is on the books. Those updates are made. And so the next step is to update your bylaws, which are aged. So just I'm going to give you a quick overview of just kind of the structure of your guiding documents and things that provide the framework of commissions. So things that matter to you are the Idaho Code that has a provision that says cities can create commissions. Meridian City Code, again, Title II establishes the commission and goes over your duties and responsibilities. Bylaws are the framework for how you conduct a meeting, how you convene a meeting and conduct your business. And then parliamentary rules, which are procedures for communicating, how you talk to each other, and how you make decisions. Idaho Code Section 50/2010 is the one that says the mayor and city council can appoint boards and commissions as may be deemed necessary or expedient to assist them in better carrying out the responsibilities of their offices. So again, the responsibilities, duties, and authorities, the code says that those responsibilities are to be listed in the city ordinance. And of course, we have that. It states the purpose of the commission, all of your responsibilities, duties, and authority, what it takes to be on the commission. And it sets a date, time, and place of the meetings. And we actually do that as an open meetings law compliance thing that allows the city clerk to notice your meetings, to provide meeting notice once a year. So there's meeting notice and there's agenda notice. Meeting notice can be done just once instead of having 2 notices for every meetings because of this provision in city code. This is a San Francisco punk band called the Bylaws, because you would not believe how hard it is to find a photo that exemplifies bylaws. So one day maybe we can have them perform. But what bylaws do is they set forth kind of the nitty gritty, how officers are elected, what their responsibilities are, what their terms are. It talks about how the agenda is prepared, how meetings are conducted, who makes the minutes, how to make subcommittees, and how you vote, how voting works on the commission. This is Henry Roberts, who wrote Robert's Rules of Order after he attended a church meeting where they had a giant fight about how to run the meeting. So he then punished us all by writing an enormous book of parliamentary procedure. So you've all, I'm sure, read front to back Robert's Rules of Order. He wrote that. So parliamentary rules, of course, establish procedures for communicating. How do you talk to each other? For example, Robert's rules say you may speak only when recognized by the chair, how actions are taken, motion, a second, discussion, and a vote, how to state motions, how to amend motions, and then how to elect officers. So Robert's Rules of Order is technically on the books as what city council follows for their meetings. Commissions do not necessarily follow Robert's Rules of Order. It's super cumbersome. So we have, for commissions, generally, we do these kind of skeletal
parts of Robert's Rules of Order, makes things go faster, but it's generally by custom more than an actual book. Under Meridian City Code, each commission is to adopt bylaws for the proper conduct of the commission's business. The way that bylaws are effectuated is that city council will pass a resolution making them official. So the commission last adopted bylaws in 2015, and before that it was 2006 when John was but a baby commissioner. So it is time. I think if we're doing it every 10 years, that's about where we're at. So the proposed bylaws, I'm just going to quickly run through what is in there. So Article 1 is your purpose, the purpose of the bylaws, rather, a framework for what happens at your meetings. Article 2 is about officers. You have a chair and a vice chair. As you know, the sitting vice chair is automatically nominated for the position of chair at your annual elections, and it goes over what to do if a chair or vice chair leaves the commission. Article 3 is about your meetings. It says that staff will remind you of the meeting. A quorum is a majority of appointed commissioners. It sets forth the order of business, so everything that's on your agenda. It says that the staff prepares the agenda in consultation with the chair, and we have a monthly meeting where the chair and staff work together to prepare the agenda for the commission. It says the chair runs the meeting, invites speakers, staff prepares the minutes. So thank you, Rachel. The chair, with the commission's approval, establishes subcommittees. And as you all know, voting is done out loud. We don't have written votes or secret votes. Article 4 is about how to amend the bylaws. Article 5 is the adoption, the effective date. Again, City Council will ratify the bylaws by resolution. So the next steps are, if you like the proposed bylaws, then I would ask for your vote on whether to recommend that City Council approve those. So you would approve them, City Council would ratify them. The next step, if you do that today, is that I would forward a proposed resolution to City Council and they would approve it, and then your new bylaws would be in effect. You might not even notice because you're already doing pretty much what it says in there. Any questions I can answer?
Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Roberts?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I haven't had a chance to review. I believe they were emailed to us, but we don't have them here. But could you just let us know if there were any changes made?
Mhm.
Yeah.
There were some changes. It's just
Okay.
because the old ones were so outdated. So the goal with these bylaws was they were actually drafted by another attorney in my office. We have a few goals. One is to make them uniform across all commissions. So there are a few, the Transportation Commission is the lone commission that decided to make some tweaks to their bylaws. And it's funny, what they added was that their meetings shall not be longer than 2 hours. The Parks Commission used to have that in their bylaws and actually needed it at one point in their storied history, but we decided to take that out because generally commissions take how long they take and no one's spending the night at City Hall. So other than that, they are uniform. There were a number of overlaps with actually the law. So open meetings law was repeated in there and a number of city code provisions were repeated in there. As city code changed, or in some cases the state code changed, they got outdated. So the other goal was to make it so the bylaws were really about the meeting and the operations of the commission to stay in its lane and not repeat some of the other things. So operationally, however, no changes. I think the biggest change was, were you a commission that used to have a president and a vice president?
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest
Oh, okay.
change. And that's right. Yes. So you were ready for that with the changes to Title II. So other than that, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
That's helpful.
Commissioner Bobo?
You have a presentation, maybe last year or the year before, we were looking at a lot of red line, was that this red line rules that we're changing, was that the preparation of this?
I think you're thinking of Title II. So that's the city code changes, and those are in effect and have been for a little while. I think that happened this spring. And so this is the follow-up to kind of get everything buttoned up.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Thank you. Yeah, my question was, I think when we were discussing all of this was, who were where the commissioners had to reside. And I think one of those was having to come from the impact area to be able to, we had to have somebody from the impact area serving. Is that correct? Or is that still correct?
Yes, that's in the Title II. It's city code does say that members of the commission shall reside in city limits, or one or two members may be from the area of impact.
Follow up? Because I was thinking it didn't say or. I thought it was saying that one or two had to come from impact.
Oh,
That's just something I remembered, but
I think you're right. I think I said may. I believe it says shall. I don't remember for sure. So I'll look it up and email you, but it does. So John is our member serving from the area of impact. And so that's the commissioner that will endeavor to replace John will be from the area of impact. That's the advertised an advertised qualification for the next commissioner. So yes.
That's a big spot where, like, for example, there's a little teeny tiny pocket off of Stick and Eagle or something like that, that is Ada County. It has a zip code that is to Meridian zip code, but it is a spot that has not been annexed by the city. It still belongs to Ada County.
We have to have one person outside of Meridian?
Yes, in the area of impact. It's a statutory land use designation, kind of a buffer zone that the city and the county work together to designate. So it's a specific place.
Mr. Chair, I would characterize it as future city limits. It's area
Yes.
that is intended to be Meridian. So they are someone that's representing the growth area, but it's not just someone outside of Meridian. They can't be in Boise or Eagle or Cuna or anything like that. It's future Meridian city limits that aren't yet annexed.
Makes sense. Good job, John.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve, or excuse me, yes, to approve of the proposed okay, I'm gonna get
You got it.
tongue-tied. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposal for the new bylaws and allow for Emily to draft her proposal for city council. Do I have a motion for that approval? Moved by Commissioner Nesmith. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do
Any
we-
opposed?
do we not get to discuss? I'm sorry.
Oh, did you have another question?
Well, yes, once the motion's up, I was just when you were saying you were going to get back to me on what was in there, because I don't have these in front of me to actually, and I didn't actually read them for tonight. I'm sorry about that. So
So your question actually pertained to a provision of Title II of City Code. So that's separate from the bylaws. I actually could
Okay.
answer you before you leave.
okay.
So
okay.
I'll look it up and see if it says shall or may. I don't remember now. I've confused myself, but the city code talks about the qualifications for the commissioners.
Okay,
The bylaws, we left that out so that there wouldn't be an overlap.
thank you.
How do I legally return back to the?
So you'd say discussion is there any more discussion? If not, discussion is closed and let's proceed to the vote.
Perfect. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, the discussion is closed. We will return back to the original motion, the approval of the proposals. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered.
Yep.
Thank you, Emily. Our final presentation before staff reports is facilities tour debrief with Director Steve Sidway.
I'm gonna do that from over here. So we enjoyed taking you all on the parks tour last month. And so I'll just start by saying we'd welcome any feedback about that, but we're already brainstorming for next year. I mean, we're always thinking about as soon as we finish one, we're thinking about the next one. So in an effort to try to get more elected officials to be able to join us, some of the feedback that I've received is that it's just difficult for mayor and some council members to give up another evening. Now, I know many of you have day jobs. So one of the discussion points is if you knew months ahead of time, would you be open to the idea of a daytime tour where instead of having dinner together and going into the evening, we would do it over the lunch hour and, do it during the day, maybe from late morning to early afternoon. Is that of interest to the commissioners?
Taking time off is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, I think as long as we have advance notice, like you say, that
We could give you months' notice.
work well. Yeah.
How long are they normally?
So they've been in the 3 to 4 hour range.
Brunch.
We were closer to 3 this last year. We met at 4. We were done at 7, right? So 7:30. So call it 3.5 hours. And we can, we actually welcome your feedback. If you say that's too long, I'd rather it be shorter. We can plan for that. So, do you like the length of time that they've been getting to the number of sites we've been getting to? Does that get a little long? Would you like to see it reduced? Would you like to see it extended? Make it an 8-hour tour. No, I'm kidding. But
2 days. No, I think my input is that I think it's fine. I think 3 to 3.5, I like seeing the sites and kind of figuring out which ones we're going to go to, whether it's to the north or south or wherever, in which parks. So to me, the 4 hours is great. And during the day is not a problem for me, as long as I can put it on my calendar.
ahead of time.
Breaking up the lunch too, or the dinner or whatever in the middle was really good call.
Yeah, this was the first time we had the dinner in the middle rather than at the beginning, and I kind of liked the flow of it.
Got to get going, stop, and then, yeah, I just thought it
A
flowed.
nice break right in the middle, a chance for some interaction and discussion and questions. So,
Didn't have to use the facilities on the bus.
yeah.
I personally just really appreciate the tours. You learn a lot. You see things differently. I just hope we can get more people involved. I mean, the timing's fine, daytime's fine. I'm pretty flexible as being the ambassador.
Okay.
But, so anyway, yeah, that's my comments.
And 8th Street Park is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole remodel, you guys did an amazing job. It's cool. It's like a different park.
Awesome.
I mean, from knowing what it used to look like to what it looks like now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, thank you for the feedback. We will talk more about it next year, but we will aim for a daytime tour next year with more details to come. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. With that, we'll move back on to staff reports. Steve?
Let's see. I feel like I've done plenty of topic talking already, but on the staff side, we're wrapping up performance evaluations. Tis the season, so the staff have been very busy with that. It's the start of a new fiscal year come October 1, so while it seems like a lot of things are winding down, particularly on the maintenance side, mowing grass, things like that, pool is, definitely winding down. But there's a lot of projects that are ramping up. With the start of a new fiscal year, we're ordering new equipment, there's a lot of projects that we've been approved for in the new budget. And those are all kicking off in earnest, and it's a very busy time of year at the same time. I know Mike and Garrett both have their fingers in many of those projects, so not wanting to steal their thunder, I'll just leave it at that. Stand for any questions and pass the mic. But any questions for me?
Any questions from the commission?
Okay.
Hearing none. Yep, Mike?
Thank you. Been working on a new playground for Tammy Street Park. If you know where Tammy Street Park is, it's the Western Ada Recreation District Park. Lakeview Monument sign is, should have some concept for that pretty soon. Ustick Road widening. We have landscape medians that are going to stretch from Highway 16 all the way to Linder Road. So that's underway. And we're expanding the dog park in Discovery Park. Hopefully with more grass. So room for more dogs and maybe shorter duration of winter closures. And Settlers Park expansion. And then we've got some hiring stuff to do, a couple of maintenance techs and a golf maintenance tech as well. So working on that. So that's what I have, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions from the commission?
Yeah,
Commissioner Allen?
regarding the sign, I understand, I heard about it coming, but I just didn't know as other people been able to review it, location and stuff, or is it right in where the grass area is before you go into the clubhouse?
Yes. Yeah. So so we don't have any concepts to review right now, but we will. And the location is in that front lawn somewhere, as opposed to out on a corner. There's really there's a rock on Black Cat that the old operator installed, and it has arrows that point to Lakeview Golf Club, and we're not calling it club anymore, it's golf course, and the arrows are really confusing. So that we're just going to get rid of that. The new sign is going to go in the front lawn. So the approach, it'll be a statement to the approach, the sense of arrival, sense of place. That's where we're hoping to kind of remake that whole front area to go along with, to beautify the front of the clubhouse, as well as let you know where you are and give it an identity.
It's just, you don't know even rough estimate of the size of the sign, or I'm kind of.
No clue. No. I do know that we've hired Trademark Sign Company to do the work, which is they've done amazing work around the valley. If you get a chance, jot that down and just kind of look at what they've done. Look around online when you have a few minutes, and
Okay.
you'll be impressed with what they've done. And I mean, they're the best.
Trademark?
Trademark.
Mr. Chair, I would just add that, I think the sign is, well, it's for the golf course. It's also, in my mind, primarily identifying the clubhouse, because there is nothing on that building saying that it's a Lakeview Golf Course clubhouse. So I don't want it out on the street. I want it to have a relationship with the clubhouse, to say, this is the Lakeview Golf Course clubhouse. It's always bothered me that there's not a sign anywhere on that building that says, welcome to the Lakeview Golf Course clubhouse. So this is meant to rectify that.
Well, I was just thinking too, because when you mentioned that, is that, they talk about the artwork that could be done at different parks. And I keep thinking, oh, we got a lot of room there to put some really nice artwork around the golf course, and I'm, of course, I'm thinking about, having a golfer swing or something, but I don't know.
Yeah. They're going to come up with something cool.
Yeah.
Every time that we commission them to work on a project, it's just amazing. They did for us, they did everything at Kleiner Park. They did Seasons Park, the new sign, and that you're familiar with, and other recent.
Yeah. They're very
I
artistic.
mean, it's just like, wow, how could you even think of that?
This
So
won't be
cool.
a rock monument sign.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It'll be impressive. We have a decent budget to implement it, so it'll be a nice addition.
Thank you. Commissioner Dennington? Oh, sorry. Alan, did you have?
I did have another question. I guess I heard that we were going to have an increase I guess it goes to city council first, or does it come to here first? Or-
I can speak to that. Yeah. So golf increases, we went to council, middle of September, just kind of have a discussion. The proposal is a 4% increase across the board. And what that does is really puts us up to the average with the comparable courses around the valley. Knowing that we're going to be the average for a couple months, really, because they start raising their fees in January. So we're kind of a year behind in theory when it comes to doing the fee stuff, but we're doing proposing a 4% increase. We want to go to council, I think November 5th, I want to say it was that Wednesday because of the elections and stuff, for a public hearing for that and see what happens. But that's kind of the proposal timeline right now for golf fees in particular.
Well, the course is what, as you learned on the tour, Ryan was given the numbers, that this course for such a narrow course is played a lot. There's a lot of activity there of all ages. So I know that.
Stealing some of my thunder over here. I have this.
I'm sorry.
No, just.
I'll shut up.
You're good.
Commissioner Dennington.
Yes, stepping back to your signage, okay, Mike had said Lakeview Golf Course, and you keep saying clubhouse, and so is it going to say Lakeview Golf Course Clubhouse, or what did you guys just say there? I was trying to get that clear.
We're not sure. I mean, we're calling it the clubhouse, but it's just maybe that's a loosely used term that, it could be, it's really the food and beverage operation and the golf shop. So we just call it a clubhouse because seems to be what it's commonly called. I don't think the sign is going to say Lakeview Golf Course Clubhouse, but it'll identify the property.
So
And
what you were talking.
the facility is Lakeview Golf Course now, not Lakeview Golf Club. So it'll definitely say Lakeview Golf Course. Whether or not it says clubhouse, I'm somewhat indifferent to, but I want something near the clubhouse to identify that
We're
you're
at the
coming
golf
into the
course.
Lakeview Golf Course facility.
Thank you.
And everybody living on the course, everybody goes through the course, that building's the clubhouse, it's like, but it's the golf course.
With that, Mike, one last quick question, being that you brought up signage and dog park, because I noticed it last time I took the dogs to Story Bark Park. The Story Bark Park sign that is on Waterfront, on let's call it the main entrance of the dog park. That one looks to me, at least in my perspective, like one of the old original signs, even though it's in pretty good condition. Has there been any discussion on updating that sign at all? Okay.
No, that one's, how old's Story Bark Park? I think it's 9 or 10 years old. So we get a little more life out of those signs. So nothing yet.
All right. Garrett.
All right, moving over here to the rec side. So like Steven mentioned, there's a lot of annual evals with all the staff, a lot of stuff regarding community center. As you guys know, the budget was passed for community center construction. So we've been working with Kreisenbeck and Cushing Terrell architects to get that stuff going and get it out to bid. But really been working with staff on the performa, operating budgets, stuff like that, and obviously construction budgets. Doing a lot of review on park fees. Working internally right now on the park fees, working with our finance department, things like that. So we'll be taking park fees like shelter fees, field fees, stuff like that, reservation fees to council in the near future as well. And then working on a little bit of AMP sound policy review stuff. Golf course wise, like Alan was saying, the golf course record numbers when it comes to rounds played, it's looking awesome. Ryan and his crew and Kevin and his crew just deserve a lot of the kudos out there for that. But the golf had a really great year. Sports wise, softball's wrapping up. It's been going since early April, so it's wrapping up right now. But winter volleyball and winter basketball registrations are open and schedules are getting started for that. They'll start that stuff in early September, late August, early September. And then the holiday volleyball tournament, the holiday classic tournament, we raised funds for buying Christmas presents for kids and stuff like that. That registration is open as well. Not too many registered yet, but it always happens the last 2 days. So we're not panicked by any means on that. Events, like Shelley had said, it's all trunk or treat, parade, and Wonderland Festival. A lot of that stuff's going on right now. Home court, a lot of pickleball. I was there this morning, working with Jake and things like that. And a lot of pickleball, a lot of basketball. The HVAC project is completed and done. So we're just kind of still working on that this winter, and hopefully no condensation. That's one of the main reasons for the HVAC project to be done. And off the hoop system, there's 8 different hoops in there, and those systems get loose after vibrations and stuff like that. So we had all that stuff resurfaced. We had to replace, I think, 3 or 4 motors up there to help pull them up, pull them down, move them out of the way, because it's constant, even with the curtains and everything, up, down, back, forth, depending on what sport's being played or what activities being out there. So those all got done with that. Pool, like Steve said, we still have a couple lifeguards still hired right now, just because the high school swim teams, Rocky Mount and Meridian High School, are using it, and Cole Valley. Cole Valley and Meridian High School have kind of combined teams just because Cole Valley is so small. But in theory, 3 high school teams are still using the facility. They'll use it through October, and then if they typically try to go indoors the first week in November for the last week of their season. Before their state meets and stuff like that happen. So, but if they can't get indoors, they still keep our pool going. So our pool is planned to be winterized. I want to say November 7th, whatever that first Monday in November would be right now. So that's really what's going on. So I will stand for questions.
Thank you, Garrett. Any questions for Garrett on his staff report? Hearing none. Kim with Pathways.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am excited to say that I met on site with the contractor today for the 5-mile pathway at McDermott Road that goes under State Highway 16. It was our official pre-construction meeting, but they have partially mobilized and started to rough out a bit of pathway. They've got signage up. We had some good discussion on just how the project was going to go in inspections. So I'm really excited to see that underway. They seem excited. They seem to want to get in and out. We'll hope for good weather. And the contract time is relatively long, but they'd like to finish it quickly, weather permitting. So we'll see, but it's going. The Trail Hub restroom, we did award a contract for that. So I'm going to touch base with the contractor. Again, long contract time. The restroom, which we ordered a long time ago, is actually going to be delivered in May instead of March. So we have plenty of time to get that underway, and a contract. We're under contract. And then rail with trail, the pathway, the non-rock star pathway that's been going on for 8 years. That is about to happen. We had just a mini false start where we thought we were ready to get out to bid. And it's a situation where we have state funds or federal funds administered through the state, and the city bids it, but we need to kind of, what's the word? Reconcile sort of city standards with state standards. So we're meeting tomorrow on that, and anticipate that bidding will happen very soon. And then also on my list is just to start looking ahead to future projects that, with the new budget, one of which is some concept work on a property adjacent to Bud Porter that will have some pathway amenities, and then other improvements to pathways and signage on the heels of the Pathways Master Plan. So I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions? Commissioner Roberts?
I have a couple questions. So I might have missed it while I was gone this summer, but is the Pathways Master Plan complete now?
Wish I could say yes, Commissioner. It is, that one has languished just a bit with everything else going on.
Okay.
I'm working with Cassandra this week to support some of her art master plan effort, and we're talking about potential overlap areas for art and pathways. We have a kind of a draft toolkit that's underway, so expect to hear more on that within the next couple of months. Yeah, we'll be aiming to wrap that up.
That's actually great, because I do want to mention, remember my student Jose Duran, who you all met, And he continued his work on the Margaret Aldape Park and kind of brought that to somewhat of a conclusion for his studies, and would love to get him together with staff to just kind of look at that final result. But now he's moved on to his next focus area, which is looking at pathways and open space and how they overlay throughout basically Western Ada County. And I thought it might be good if we do pull together a meeting, and I'll email you guys to see if we can get that, to kind of look at where you are with the master plan, and he can maybe bring that into his consideration, because he's also looking at the Greenbelt, Meridian's only section of Greenbelt, which is at Aldape, right? And so kind of the role that we can have in that and how it connects to Boise and Star and whatnot. So anyway, wanted to make sure I mentioned that, and I'll get a hold of you guys to see if we can get something going. Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Bobo.
Where the trailhead, the 5 mile trailhead ends at McDermott now, how much farther is it gonna go when it goes?
Where the 5 mile pathway ends at McDermott.
Yeah.
On and on as we
On?
can. So we're filling in this gap that's about, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile. And then there's some pathway that goes from Glassford to Owyhee Storm Avenue. And then as we get into the Fields District and a new park that's planned to the west, and the 5 mile drain / creek continues to go on, and we continue to, I mean, we will develop or have others develop as it happens along that pathway to the edge of the area of impact. So I would say at least another mile
Okay.
west.
There's a lot of interest in that area, just because a lot of people run, especially going from Rita Husky to McDermott, because it's so flat and easy to run and off the road.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So to go farther, being that's near where I live, there, a lot of my friends talk about how nice that is to run on.
Well, and I was just out there earlier today, as mentioned, and at State Highway 16, like there's another overpass at McMillan, like it's really starting to change. And that, yeah.
And the roads are getting busier. I ride it on my bike a lot, and it's getting busier and busier. So it's very well used. Your work is very well appreciated.
Thank you. Well, and I'm hoping that as the field districts develops, there might be different kinds of kind of mixed use that could interface with the pathway. Not sure how that will happen, but I think in the plan that's indicated. So that could be exciting too.
Not that it's a requirement at the second or anything like that, but I have heard a couple of my neighbors complain that there's not a lot of bathrooms on that stretch once you get past Rita Husky.
That's good to know. I would think that the new.
Not that that's like an urgent need that has to be done, but for the runners that run back and forth, it's there's not any bathrooms along the way, or stores or places to stop.
Noted.
Just what? They have to go to Lakeview.
Mr. Chair.
Go to the bathroom before they leave.
That would be a good choice.
No.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Jennifer, I would just say that, I mean, it's going to take 5+ years, but eventually that pathway will tie into the Fields District Park that we just purchased. And there will be park restrooms in Fields District Park. So it's several years down the road, but it is coming.
I'm not saying it's an urgent need. I'm just saying it's been mentioned a number of times.
Any additional questions for Emily on pathways? Oh, sorry, Kim. I saw Emily's sign and it's right in front of you. I'm like, wait a minute.
Emily, any day. I'll take it as a compliment.
With hearing no further discussion, the discussion is closed. And I would like to make a motion for the adjournment of tonight's meeting. Motion has been made by Commissioner Roberts, seconded. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Nesmith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. We are adjourned. Yeah.
And commissioners, I would just note that the next meeting, it's on November 12th, which is the regular date, but that Wednesday in here will be a city council meeting because the Tuesday night is the Veterans Day. So because of Veterans Day, they're moving their council meeting to Wednesday. So we will move this meeting to the